What's going on, everybody? So, chit chat time here. I want to talk about something that I've seen floating around on Facebook in a guitar group that I'm part of. So, this guy posted a question. His question was, should you buy a guitar online before you can even touch it? To play it, if you can't play it or you can't feel how the neck feels, should you go through with the purchase? I'd like to give my thoughts on it personally, and some opinions that were stated in this discussion here on Facebook. So some guys were saying like, no, man, you don't ever do that unless you can physically touch the guitar, play it, make sure you like it, make sure the frets are good, all that stuff. Now, in my experience, this is just me. I ordered two guitars from Zounds. They were my JS models. The blue one, the JS 140, when I got it, start playing on it, and I was like, man, this thing is amazing. It feels awesome. Sounds great, even though it has Ibanez Quantum pickups, which I knew nothing about. I already knew what the JS neck felt like because I played quite a few JS 100s and a couple of JS 1000s in used stores and new, like a music go around in my area, and my local guitar center had a JS 1000 that I got to play on, and they were great. So I already knew that. And the bridge, the Edge Zero 2 that's on the JS 140, I was unsure about in terms of quality. I figured it definitely wouldn't hold up to an original Edge. And so I had the guitar here in my room. I was sitting playing on it, playing chords, going through things, and just, feeling my way around the guitar. And I noticed like the chords aren't sounding in tune, and I was like, "Uh-oh, okay, intonation must be uh out of adjustment." So I checked it, and yes, it's very sharp. And so I get my wrench out that came with the guitar, and I go to loosen my intonation screw from my high E, and whoever put those screws in the at the factory cranked them down so tight that it stripped the threads or stripped the head off. It rounded the head of the screw off. And then I tried another one, and they were all. I didn't give it enough force to move it. I just kind of turned it to see if it would loosen, and man, they were cranked down. And I was like, oh shit. And so that guitar, its intonation is absolutely terrible. And if I try to move those screws to loosen them, they're gonna just strip. They're gonna round those heads out, and I'll never be able to adjust it. So I just have to leave it. And I was like, well, for $800, I expected better. You know. Because $800, man, they should take pride in this stuff. So that might be one thing that might steer you away from it. And then I order my 240, my red one, and I got my first one. And dude, the amount of issues that thing had with the fretwork and what else was there? Intonation. I had to adjust that straight out of the box. Luckily, though, I could move the screws for the original Edge. Whoever did that did it right. But the fretwork, man, just absolutely terrible on a almost $2,000 guitar. And so, yeah, that might steer you away too, man. You have to get one, like me. You get one and it's got issues with the frets or electronically, like mine does right now. And you have to ship it back, get another one, which is what I did. And the other one had one fret issue, and I got that sorted out. But man, for $2,000, you shouldn't have to do that. You know, for almost 2 grand, that guitar better play perfectly straight out of the box. And then as I had this one, the Sustainiac got all screwed up and wasn't functioning. It's still not doing it right. I don't know what's up with that. And I was like, man, for a $1,700 guitar or $1,800 after taxes, they need to do a better damn job of wiring that stuff. It's Indonesian made, yes, so the quality is hit or miss. So I guess in some points that the one person on the discussion made, I can agree that yes, you may want to play them before you purchase them from a store online. Now, Zounds, they don't offer setups, they don't offer inspection of the instrument. They just go to the warehouse, get the box, and that's the guitar they ordered, ship it to them. Takes 2 days to get to your house. That's why I always, now, since that happened to me, I always recommend Sweetwater. Because you can talk to your sales engineer and ask them, hey man, can you set this thing up for what I want it to be? And they'll do that for you, and they put it through a 55-point inspection. They check the machine heads, the nut, they check the pickups, the wiring, the pots. If you have a Floyd, they go through that, make sure it's functioning properly, make sure everything's good. Now, I ordered a Ibanez Prestige from Sweetwater. $1,400 guitar, made in Japan. And I looked at that and I was like, for $1,400, that's almost a steal for what these Prestiges are going for these days. And I was like, you know what? I have no doubts that guitar will be perfect when I get it. And so I asked my sales engineer, can you set it up for me for Ernie Ball 11 to 54 gauge and drop C tuning? And he was like, yeah, man, just let me know. Like, what kind of action do you like? And I told him, I like it to be low with as minimal fret buzz as possible. A little bit is okay as long as I can't hear it through my amp. And he was like, all right, we'll get it done for you and we'll ship it to you. We'll delay it 24 hours so they can set it up and let the guitar acclimate on what they've done to it. And then they shipped it to me. And when I opened that case, got it out, plugged it into my amp, hit the first chord, and played through it just like I did my Satriani guitars. I went through every fret, and I went through all the chords to check the intonation, down the neck. Everything was perfect. And then I get this Charvel from Sweetwater just a couple weeks ago, or about a month ago now. And it was perfect right out of the box. I didn't even ask them to set it up for me. I opened the box up, got the guitar out, plugged it into my amp, and it did everything I expected. The only thing I had to do was raise the action a hair of a millimeter from where they had it. And because it had some fret buzz, just a little bit, but it was more than what I like to hear. So I just raised it faintly, man. You can barely tell I moved it, and it's perfect. Absolutely perfect. That Godo 510 bridge on that guitar is the best floating trim that I've had. That's a Strat style trim ever. So that brings me to the purpose of this video. If you are looking at Ibanez and you say you want a Prestige, and you look online to order you a Prestige, I would say you could do that and trust that that guitar will be good when you get it. You might have one that could be a lemon, or maybe even two, but you're going to have a much better chance of getting a player. One that you can plug in out of the box and it plays great, everything's perfect. If you're looking at, I'm using Ibanez as an example, just to give you a baseline. If you're looking at, say, the Ibanez RG Standard Series, with when the bridge says locking Floyd Rose Bridge or whatever, if it's Indonesian made, you're in, let's say, $400 to $500. You're in the range of issues that you may have with that bridge. You may have issues with the frets. The wiring may not be as up to par as it should be, you know. So if you're looking at like cheaper Ibanez or Squire Strats and stuff, I would be a little bit leery. I would definitely play them first. I say that, and then like you can order a freaking what $3,000 Gibson, and it'd be just as bad as that $300 Epiphone you were looking at last week. Because Gibson, there for a while they were getting thrown under the bus a lot on their quality. So I guess I would say it's up to you really. I mean, if you choose Sweetwater, they can definitely do you anything you need done to it to make sure it is good. And they'll make sure that you're happy with that guitar. They will call you once you receive it. About a week later, they'll call you up and ask you, how do you like it? Is it good enough for your standard and what you expected? And if it's not, you send it back and they'll ship you a replacement for it. And they'll do whatever you asked of them to do to make sure that you are satisfied with your purchase. And let's get off on a tangent. I want to talk about something else, guitar related. I have gotten so much crap from people over the years for spending thousands on guitars. You spend thousands of dollars on these instruments, and they're not going to be, worth anything. I'll tell you what, man. You spend $1,000 on a guitar, that guitar is going to outlive you. 40 years from now, you can give that guitar to someone in your family after you pass away, and they can enjoy that thing. People give me shit all the time because I have a pretty intense guitar collection, and there's a lot of cash that's went into these guitars. But you can definitely get your money back on them, although I did lose pretty big on my Les Paul. I mean, that guitar new was probably $2,600, and I got it for $9 from a dude that had it for sale. And then when I sold it, I got $750 out of it. And I only took that because I needed the money right then. I had to have it. So, I wasn't using it. So I just figured, sell it off. Let someone else enjoy that guitar that would really truly appreciate it and play it. And I got my Charvel to replace that. But yeah, man, I mean, it's hit or miss with a lot of the cheaper stuff you may look at online. So if you're leery about it, call up Guitar Center and see if they have one in stock, or some music store that you may live near. And go down there. Sit down with that guitar. The one that you want. It may not be the same color and stuff like that, but it will be the same model. And you can play on it and see how it feels. And see if you really want to, invest in that. Because guitars are investments. And, you invest what, $2,800 in a Les Paul? That's a great instrument. I've heard people say, oh, they're just, like fine pieces of furniture. They're beautiful to look at, but are you really going to use it? Probably not. I don't know, man. I had a Les Paul Studio that I played the absolute hell out of, and that guitar never let me down. And I got it used for $750 at a pawn shop. Didn't even do any setup to it. Didn't do any intonation on it. It was perfect right out of the case. But yeah, I mean, I don't really know. I can't definitively say, yes, go ahead and order you a guitar offline that you've never touched, unless you're willing to drop some cash on a guitar. And that's hard for some people. I know it is. It's very difficult for some people that might see a badass Schecter or Jackson or Charvel or Ibanez ESP that's a couple $1,000. It's kind of hard to justify why you want to drop that kind of cash on a guitar. Like, man, that's a lot of money. What if it's screwed up, Because there is a chance, yeah, there's a chance that you could get like an Ibanez J Custom for 3 grand, and even it might have some issues that may need to be corrected. But it would be worth it to correct those issues. Take it to a tech, have them level the frets, polish them, recrown them, all that stuff. But if you put like 300 into a guitar, I don't know, I wouldn't say that it would be worth it to go spend upwards of 150 to 175 bucks for a fret job, just to polish, crown, and level. Or level, crown, polish. That's the order it goes in. I can't definitively say that, yeah, it would be worth it unless you just really love that guitar. And then there's another argument that I've actually experienced with people that I know. Like they want, like, let's use a guitar for an example, an EC1000 ESP. But I want, the, what do they call it, Black Cherry Red. I want that guitar. That's the one I want. Like, you could go and buy any EC1000 of any finish, and that guitar will play and sound just like that red one that you were looking at. The color isn't what matters in guitar. In guitar, what matters the most is how it feels to you, how it sounds, and the workmanship and the build quality. That's why I'm such a fan of Ibanez Prestige guitars. And I probably turned into one of those, if you don't own a Prestige, you don't own a real Ibanez, But no, I have had over the years plenty of cheap Ibanez RG series guitars, and they've all been great. I'm still flabbergasted that my JS240 at 1,800 bucks had the issues that it had. I was like, man, for that kind of money, you couldn't take pride in the fretwork, the fit and finish, everything being great. That's what Japan gets, you know. When you buy an Ibanez Prestige that's made in Japan, those guys in the Hoshino factory, they really take pride in making sure that guitar is what they're marketing it as and what they're selling it as. They want you to pick that guitar up and have a great experience. But would I buy guitars offline? Yes, I would all the time. I do it all the time. And yeah, I've caught some bad ones, 2 of them. But for the most part, what I've bought offline has been perfect. Everything I've bought from Sweetwater has been perfect. Every time. That is the music store I recommend to everyone now. Like all my friends, they're like, what company would I order from, dude? Sweetwater. Always. Not to shit on like Sam Ash or Musician's Friend or Zounds. I mean, what happened to me with Zounds and getting those 2 guitars that had issues? That can happen because they are mass-produced instruments. They could build a JS240 and they have issues beyond belief. And then the next one that rolls off the line can be perfect. And then 4 more down the road could have 6 or 8 different issues. And then the next 10 guitars be perfect. It's just the nature of mass production. They're slapping these things together as fast as they can to get them out to the distributors as quickly as possible so they can get them into the customer's hands. Whereas the Ibanez Prestige series, a lot of those, when you go online, a lot of those are out of stock and they're on back order for months. Because the Japanese guys take pride in what they do. They want you to have a great guitar that will give you the enjoyment that they think you deserve out of your, $1,400 and upwards investment. Gibson, I don't know, man. I think it's kind of a money grab these days. They know they can put out a $2,800 standard, and somebody's gonna buy it. Now, if you get their custom, the Les Paul custom, I've played a few of those, and they've all been great. No issues. Neck angle's perfect. It stays in tune great. I don't know what it is. Some Les Pauls will stay in tune great, and others you can't keep them in tune to save your life. So let's talk about some more bad experiences with companies that I've had. Jackson is a big one for me. I've had 2 or 3 different Jacksons that had something wrong with them. And then I had a Schecter, an Omen 6 in electric blue. And I got that thing and I was like, wow, this thing's awesome. It's pretty. It sounds good. Frets were good. The frets were great. The pickups were decent for what they were. But then I noticed the tuning, man. The tuning stability on that particular instrument was just horrible. And I was like, what the hell is going on with that? Like, why is it that my Epiphone Les Paul Special 2 holds tune better than this guitar? And it was only what, $199 when I bought that Les Paul? And my Schecter I bought, or my dad got me, was like $4.99. So I got to messing around and feeling of things on the body and the bridge and stuff, and my Tune-o-matic bridge would move like this, side to side. And that was what was causing the tuning issues. Because the bridge was not solidly locked in place by the string tension. Something was off with it. I don't know what it was. And then I had a Ibanez RG 350DX that had a crazy issue where my spring claw, those 2 screws in the back of the tremolo cavity, pulled themselves out of the body. Which is probably something that I did wrong because I didn't understand how Ibanez bridges worked at that time. I thought they were supposed to be kicked up like this because that's how Floyd Rose was, or my Floyd on my Fender Squire Stagemaster I had. So I just based it off that. So I probably caused that issue to happen. Dumbass me, you know. A little kid that was a big Steve Vai Satriani fan, and I wanted all that cool ass bar work. Yeah. Just, if you get one that's cheaper and you restring it, just do it like 1 string at a time. Tune your string down slack, clip it off, unlock it from the bridge, and then remove it from the tuning post. And then put your string in the bridge. After you clip the ball end off, if that's what you choose to do, lock it down, not over tight. Don't lock it down over tight, you're going to strip it. And then feed it up to the tuner, wrap it around the tuner, and then tune that string to whatever pitch it is you're going for with your tuning. If it's E, go right to E, and then repeat that process on each string, and it will keep that bridge perfectly level, like they're supposed to be. I didn't know that at the time. When I first got my Stagemaster that had a Floyd, it was my first experience with a Floyd Rose. I took all the strings off of it, cleaned her up really nice, and it looked really good. Put all my strings on, went to tuning it up, and man, that was probably a 2-hour process. And I was like, I would do it that way every time, because that's what I thought you had to do. And I was like, no wonder everyone hates these things, Just do them 1 string at a time. And then you won't have that problem. You won't be like me. But yeah, I don't know. It's kind of hard for me to jump on this side of the fence or that side of the fence with the whole buying guitars online. Because it is hit or miss. Sometimes even with the thousands of dollars you may drop on a guitar, it can be hit or miss. Just choose Sweetwater. They'll take care of you the best they can. That's all I can give you on that. So that's what I wanted to discuss. And I'll let you guys go here. I hope you enjoyed. And maybe some of you guys would feel a little bit better about ordering offline, because that seems to be the way it is nowadays. I've went to my local Guitar Center several times, and their walls are almost bare of guitar selection, unless you're looking for a Strat or a Gibson, Les Paul, Explorer, SG. They got plenty of those if you want to pay the thousands of dollars for them. You know, it's like what, $1,800 now for a USA Strat. Mexican Strats are going for $699, $700. Then Les Pauls, dude, like even the studio model is $1,700 now, or 15, somewhere in the $1,500 to $1,700 range. The standards are upwards of almost 3,000, and the customs are upwards of like 4 to 6. I've seen one that was some kind of Les Paul that had orange binding. It was black. Looked really cool. Looked like a Halloween guitar. I was like, that's badass. I'd like to have that. I turned that price tag over. $6,099. Or $6,999. Like $7,000. I was like, what the hell are they thinking, man? That some Joe Blow off the street's gonna come in and buy that thing and be like, I want that. Don't care what it costs. If a collector saw that, they'd buy it. But man, it's insane how much guitars have increased in price since the whole COVID thing happened and lockdown, and then it was hard for Ibanez and all those guys to produce their instruments and get them out to the people. My 140, my JS 140 was on back order for me for 5 months. I waited 5 months to get that guitar. And I was like, that's insane. People want them so bad. The demand is so high that companies can't keep up, is what it seems like. But yeah, that's what I wanted to discuss. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll give you one of those. And take care of yourselves out here. Play your hearts out all the time. Thanks for watching.